Hello there, everyone. Welcome to week number 3 of the RPA Milotic division. This week we are once again faced with another tough game. So this week we're taking on the season 10, not season 11. I was the season 11 Aracuda Division champion, but taking on the season 10 RPA Aracuda Division champion, Nelson, and their team, the Smiles Quagsires. So this game is, well, it's no secret that I'm nervous for this game because, well, anytime I hear champion in my opponent's title, it just automatically makes me just kind of panic about the game. So, yeah, I need to pause the recording real quick to plug my computer in. Okay, so computer's plugged in now, so apologies about that. So, like I was saying, there's nothing more that makes me panic about a game than seeing that my opponent is very good. But the the general theme of me in this draft week is I do not go down without a fight. So, true to my message in week 1, we don't care what our opponent has won, how many wins they have, we don't care how good their team is. We stand, we fight, and we are going to give it everything we have. So, with that being said, let's just get into this game. So, you can see my team on the left and their team on the right. And speaking of my team, stick around until the end of the video because I have a bit of an announcement to make for my team. But looking at their team, their first pick is Greninja. Greninja is a kind of a weird Pokemon to pick first pick. I think I think it gets access to Battle Bond, which boosts special attack and speed, and I think attack after getting a KO. It gets the ability Protein to change its type to the type of whatever move it uses. Granted, it only can activate that once per time it switches in. So if it stays in for like a few turns and it uses like Dark Pulse, it changes to a dark type, like a pure dark type, despite it already being a water dark type. If it uses Dark Pulse, it changes to a dark type, and for the entire time that the Pokemon remains in, it will be dark type. When it switches out, its typing resets back to water dark, and then the its type changes to whatever move it uses first again. So if it uses Surf next, then it'll be a water type. This type changing shenaniganery is going to be pretty annoying, and Greninja also gets access to U-turn and Toxic Spikes and Spikes, so it has solid utility options too that can really, really help their team out. Next up, they have Latios. Latios is one of their main benefactors to Greninja's Spikes, being able to pick up one-hit KOs or easier two-hit KOs with choice specs attacks like Psychic, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Draco Meteor, or Dragon Pulse. Like, it has a lot of options. Latios can also run Dragon Dance if it wants to, but I'm not big on Latios here because although it's great against Great Tusk, it's kind of dead in the water versus Dragonite's Mega Delta Charizard, Chin-Pao in general. Vaporeon can tank hits, Hatterene can tank hits, and I think they have a few better options. Granted, I'm still prepping for Latios because it is something you never want to not prep for, but Latios is supremely powerful. So, next up they have Scizor. Although Terra isn't allowed in this league, it's allowed in the Cramorant division, but not this division. Scizor is still really, really good, being only weak to fire-type moves, and well, when your fire type is a Crocodile, yeah, you're gonna be okay. But it gets Knockoff, Roost, U-Turn, Bullet Punch, nice utility moves. Hell, I've ran Sand Tomb on it to kind of trap things in for some passive chip. So Scizor is really, really good in this game, I think. It can get superpower to hit Ferrothorn, or cause combat now, I think, to hit Ferrothorn, or you can just use Technician HP Fire, which I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to do. So, yeah, that's Scissor. Next up, they have Togekiss. Togekiss is super annoying. It can be a bulky set with heavy-duty boots, or it can be, the classic annoying Choice Scarf, Serene Grace, Air Slash, Flinch Hacks Togekiss. It gets Thunder Wave, it gets Wish, it gets Heal Bell, it gets all sorts of useful utility moves from my opponent. It gets access to moves like Flamethrower for the Ferrothorn and the Chinpow. It gets Dazzling Gleam, it gets Air Slash, it gets Aura Sphere even. Granted, I don't think they bring Aura Sphere, but it gets a lot of useful attacks. Wish for just healing up their other Pokemon on their team that I'll get to, like Mega Donphan, that don't have as much reliable recovery. Next up, they have Delta Gallade. Delta Gallade is an electric ice type Gallade with Volt Switch and generally, like, pretty much all the physical moves Gallade had and then some. It gets Wild Charge and I think Ice Punch. Nothing on my team can really stand up to this thing. My physical wall is Great Tusk, and Great Tusk is weak to ice, so Great Tusk won't be good to bring against the Delta Gallade. It gets, yeah, it gets a lot of good physical moves. I already mentioned Wild Charge, Ice Punch. I think it gets Close Combat, but it's a super, super threatening Pokemon for my team, especially if it's a Choice Scarf set. So that'll be something to watch out for. And also, Volt Switch has a lot of good synergy with their Scizor and Greninja. Being able to being able to make a Volt Turn core, Volt Switch U-turn core, to just pivot around my team. And it's going to be very scary for my team because my team does not have a ton of pivoting. So that is going to be something to watch out for. Next up, they have Mega Donphan. Mega Donphan is pretty much just like a regular Donphan. It has a lot of HP, a lot of defense, a lot of attack, and middling stats everywhere else. I'm not sure how good its special defense is, but I don't really want to check right now. So, Mega Donphan has a special ability called Irrelevant. I like the pun there, but it's basically scrappy, but it ignores type-based immunities. So I think you can hit ghost type moves or ghost types with normal and fighting type moves, as well as you being able to hit ground or flying types with ground type moves. So that is absolutely massive for my opponent because that means that Tornadus Therian is not a safe switch in. So that pretty much brings my Mega Donphan switch to Great Tusk. And Great Tusk does not like their team. Greninja beats it, Latios beats it, Delta Gallade beats it, the Delta Reuniclus can beat it, Togekiss beats it, hell, even Pyroar can. And Heracross can eat hits from it, Leafeon can eat hits from it. It's just not ideal for me to bring Great Tusk, and that's what makes Mega Donphan scary in this game. Because it will easily 2-hit KO Ferrothorn or Vaporeon even if they're max HP, max defense. So limiting Mega Donphan here is going to be absolutely key to my team's success. Next up, they have Delta Reuniclus. Delta Reuniclus is what I would like to call a very powerful Trick Room special attacker. It's a Ghost Rock type. It's not as good as regular Reuniclus in my opinion, but I cannot underestimate the power of Ghost types with a team that is really, really weak to Ghost types. Since I have Mega Delta Charizard, its Noctum ability it helps my team, but it also is a major detriment to it. Because since it doesn't just boost Ghost and Dark type moves for my team, it boosts it for my opponent's team as well. So it raises an interesting dance of trying to check the Ghost types of my opponent. And yeah, it's just awkward. I really want a better normal to help with this, but I'm not entirely sure it's possible. I have one of the better dark types, but Chinpow is not tanky at all. So I have to rely on my defensive core to get the job done versus any ghost types. But back to Reuniclus, it's a supremely powerful special attacker with Stab Shadow Ball. I honestly don't even remember what it gets. It's been like 3 weeks since I've looked at this. Actually, probably 2 weeks since I've looked at this. But that's Delta Reuniclus. Next up, they have regular Heracross. So Heracross is it has two main sets. It can run Choice Scarf or Flame Orb with Guts. So Heracross, it's a physical attacker. It gets Trailblaze if it wants to be fast with the Gut set. And yeah. Next up they have Pyroar. Pyroar is one Pokemon that they've had surprising success with. They could run like workup sets or something. I don't fully know what all Pyroar does, but normal and fire type moves go in versus my team, and he can run Snarl, and they can run Snarl for the Delta Charizard, and that'll get boosted by the Noctum ability. It can run Flame Charge, I think, to boost its speed for the Chin Pal. You can run Workup to boost its special attack and attack. It's just generally, it's an underrated Pokemon that I'm only now finding out how much it can do. Granted, it's still Pyroar, but it's it's not entirely helpless in this game. So next up, we have Leafeon and then Alolan Persian. They're their two lower tier picks. Leafeon can it's a physically attacking grass type. It has higher defense, but I don't think it'll bring it. Grass types generally hate my team. And then you have Alolan Persian. Alolan Persian has like Fur Coat for its ability, boosting its defense. It can be surprisingly annoying with knockoff Parting Shot, and yeah, that is the overview of their team. So let's just go into my team. I unhid the wrong image, but you'll see that you caught the glimpse of the scream tail. You'll see that at the end. This is why we name the images in OBS instead of image and image 2. So on my team, you can see I have Delta Charizard. So Delta Charizard, we have Draco Meteor, Shadow Ball, Ice Beam, Will-O-Wisp. This set is pretty much designed to swap my opponent's team as hard as I can. I want to actually unhide the matchup so y'all can better see it, I guess. So, yeah, I like that. So, you can see Delta Charizard with Draco Meteor, Shadow Ball, Ice Beam, Will-O-Wisp. As you can see, it hits everything pretty much neutral or super effectively. Ice Beam is there to hit the Togekiss a bit harder, also because I didn't really want to run Sludge Bomb because I could hit the Latios a bit harder too. But honestly, I don't know why, because, well, they're not going to bring Latios hard in on this anyways. But I have 216 speed, that's enough speed to outpace the Leafeon, 252 special attack, pretty much make everything hit as hard as possible, and then the rest is invested into HP and defense. I mainly wanted to invest into this like this because, well, I have an odd number in HP, and that's important to me. So, yeah. Next up, I have Chin-Pao, Ice Spinner Crunch, Sacred Sword, Sword Stance with Heavy Duty Boots. They have solid hazard stacking with Greninja and the Megadon fan. Hell, I think Heracross gets spikes too, so that's something to watch out for. But Chin-Pao, Ice Spinner, Crunch, Sacred Sword, Sword Stance, hits everything neutrally super effectively. Sorry about the pause again, but it hits everything neutral super effectively. Sword Stance to boost its attack further. I probably should have put like Sucker Punch on there to try to hit some Choice Scarf things, but I ended up not doing it, so yeah. As you can see, I have the odd number in HP because, well, that's important to me, so yeah. Next up, Ferrothorn, Spike, Stealth Rock, Knockoff, Leech Seed. I decided to counter the hazard stack with my own hazard stack. Since I don't really have a reliable way to remove my own hazards, I want to see if they can quick defog for me. They have 3 defoggers on their team, Latios, Togekiss, and the Scizor. Granted, they have a better Rapid Spinner, but yeah, I at least want them to force the rapid spin, so that way I can try to set up something with Chin Pow or Delta Charizard. But knock off to remove heavy duty boots, wheat seed for passive chip, leftovers for chip health gains, and iron barbs to kind of punish the uh, Scizor or the Delta Gallade. So, yeah. Next up, have Vaporeon. This is a standard physically defensive set. Max HP, max defense with leftovers, water absorb, wish, protect, scald, flip turn. Pretty standard stuff here. There's honestly nothing I really need to go over. Next up, I have Crocalor. Crocalor with a Violet Unaware, Flamethrower, Slack Off, Will-O-Wisp, Fire Spin. This is my pretty much dedicated Delta Gallade check. Flamethrower to hit everything as hard as it can, Will-O-Wisp to burn the special attackers and make things like Megadon fan think twice about coming in. Fire Spin to get passive, or to get some passive chip on some things, and then Slack Off for general recovery. So, next thing I have is Hatterene. Hatterene with Magic Bounce. This is for the Greninja. I decided to go a bit mixed defensively just in case Greninja had Gunk Shot. I have Covert Quote to kind of sponge hits better from the Togekiss, and so that way I could paralyze it to get Chin Power Delta Charizard in versus it. I have Mystical Fire, Draining Kiss, Giga Drain, hits pretty much everything neutral or super effectively. On second thought, I probably should have went with Dazzling Gleam over Draining Kiss, just for more damage versus Latios, but I didn't end up doing that. I don't know why I'm yawning. I'm so freaking tired, but I'm almost done with this recording. Just got a little bit to go, but I want to pause the recording right now, and I'm going to pull up the replay. So I'll catch you guys in the battle. Okay, let me hide that, and so here we are in the game. You can see, well, you can see that this is a post commentary because I didn't have time to record because I only really have time to do my games on Sunday, and Sunday is when my roommate comes back and starts playing Dokapon Kingdom for 12 hours on end. But I digress. So you can see that they brought Greninja, Scizor, Togekiss, Megadon Fan, Pyroar, and Delta Gallade. I was honestly surprised at no Latios. That's one of the things that surprised me in this game. But, yeah. So here, I led Chin-Pao. Chin-Pao looked really, really good in this game, and I felt exerting pressure early was my way to succeed in this game. So, I lead off with the Chin-Pao as they lead off with the Greninja. So, I stayed in, thinking, okay, this is going to be a sash lead. I'm going to break the sash. I think I can live a U-turn, and I'll just have to live with it. But they turn out to be Choice Scarf Low Kick, Oko's my Chin Pal, and makes this game 10 times harder from turn 1. So, I have to play this down a Pokemon, pretty much. And I don't really have a way of beating the Togekiss now. So Togekiss pretty much beats me. So, speak of the devil, they go Togekiss, as I quick Mystical Fire, reading the Scissor switch in, but I lower this thing's special attack, and I decide to quick Nuzzle so I could slow it down for Delta Charizard just in case. They get paralyzed and get their wish back, so I go Crocalor and I quick Fire Spin, trying to trap this thing in, just so that way I can try to eliminate the Togekiss early. They end up going Pyroar, which honestly kind of sucks. I do get the Fire Spin off, and so I get a bit of chip. They go for the workup, and I had nothing else to do here. I had to quick Scald because I was already so behind in this game. Fortunately, Scald picks up the kill because it's a Pyroar, but Vaporeon has already taken half its health, and it has a lot of tanking left to do. So they go into Delta Gallade, and I get scared out into Crocowar. They quick Volt Switch, which is a very good play on their part, and they go Mega Donphan to keep the pressure up. I'm forced to go Ferrothorn on this as they quick knock off. I get a bit of chip back on this, and I have to quick Leech Seed because I'm fairly certain I die to an EQ. The quick Stealth Rocks because I don't have a way of removing hazards, and yeah. So immediately I know that this Scissor is like offensive. It might be Choice Band because I don't think there is any way it was going to do 50 otherwise. So they pivot back into the Donphan. I quick Leech Seed, and they just quick Earthquake to put me out of my misery. So at this stage, I'm forced to go Delta Charizard and quick Shadow Ball as they go Togekiss to try to sponge a hit. So I go Shadow Ball. It does 40, so that's something, and they don't quick Wish. I think they would have been able to stall me out if they quicked Wish, but I quick Ice Beam and Shadow Ball and knock the Togekiss out, so my team isn't dead yet, but it ain't looking good. So here I go Hatterene on the Greninja. Since Togekiss is dead, I don't need Hatterene to sponge hits anymore. So I go Hatterene to exert a bit of pressure and just to see if I can pick off something. So here I quick Mystical Fire, pretty much hard reading the Scissor Switch. I went for Mystical Fire reading Scissor earlier in the game, but it didn't end up paying off. And here it finally paid off as I hit the Scissor and knock it out. So against all odds, I have taken a 4-3 lead. So they go into Mega Donphan and Rapid Spin. I quick Giga Drain, barely not knocking it out. If I had some special attack investment, I probably would have. But Hatterene goes down and I'm forced to go Delta Zard again. So I quick Shadow Ball to knock out the Mega Donphan because I had no other move. And here they go Greninja, knocking me out with a Dark Pulse. I really didn't need Delta Charizard because I highly suspected that the Delta Gallade was Choice Scarf as well, and Delta Charizard wouldn't have done me much good. So the game is pretty much half health Vaporeon, 85% Crocowar versus a Delta Gallade at full health and a regular Greninja at pretty much full health. We'll see what happens. So I go Vaporeon, quick Protect to get a bit of chip health back, and so I just barely eat the Dark Pulse. I don't get flinched, which is massive. So I quick Wish into Protect as they go Delta Gallade, and here I switch it to Crocowar to eat the hit. They quick Wild Charge, and they go Greninja. As I quick Slack Off, I didn't really have another move. I need to keep Crocowar healthy. Same with Vaporeon. I need to keep these things healthy if I want to win this game. So they go Delta Gallade as I quick Scald. Unfortunately, I don't get a Scald Burn, but this game hasn't had much hacks in it, and I want it to stay that way. So I Protect to get back to full health, and then I go Crocowar as they quick Wild Charge. So here they quick Wild Charge again as I quick Slack Off just to try to keep Crocowar healthy. And they go Greninja as I quick Flamethrower, getting a bit more chip on this. So here they call me perfectly. Quick U-turn, go into Delta Gallade, and here it is. It's not looking great. So Vaporeon, I was calcing, Vaporeon just barely lived. I think this thing did 71 max to me with a Wild Charge. Vaporeon just barely lived and managed to get a Wish off and do a lot of damage to Recoil. So I'll Protect again just to get the health back, and here I could have just stayed in and wished, but I go Crocowar for some reason, effectively sacking it off. So I could have saved Crocowar, and here I put Vaporeon in jeopardy. I have to Protect, and I get 72 back, just barely enough to live the hit. Delta Goya gets knocked out to Wild Charge Recoil, and it's Vaporeon versus Greninja. So it's pretty much don't get flinched. But at this rate, I think it does like 30 max to me. Well, it did 30 there, but it does 30 to me, and Vaporeon is going to have enough bulk to outlast here. And we will manage to win the game despite getting crit. And we managed to win the game 1-0 despite everything going wrong in the first turn. I threw away Chinpow and I still managed to eke it out. I honestly don't really know how I managed it. I also choked away Crocodile at the end of the game. I should have played so much better in this game, but I just didn't. But anyways, GG's to Nelson. Next week we take on Blue, coach of the Houston Huge Power, and he is a perennial contender in RPA's top division. So it's never it never is easy in this league, but I don't really want to forget this. We have a team announcement to make. So, I have made some trades, as you could probably tell from the uh, little you could see of it. I have made some trades on this team. I only got 4 trades, so I have no more trades left. So, you can see the changes I've made. I have traded Hatterene, Vaporeon, Toxtricity, and Crocodile for Screamtail, Electros, Arbok, and Willigant Delta Water. So Screamtail is my goat. I love this Pokemon. It's so good. There's a reason I initially drafted it. I dropped it due to my team feeling really passive, but with my team being the way it is, I think I just need a comfort Pokemon that can pass wishes pretty effectively. And Screamtail offers exactly that. It gives me the middle speed tier between Tornadus and Delta Charizard, and it gives me comfort. So that's something. Electros, I'm going to get to Delta Willigant. Electros is a Pokemon I've always wanted to try out. It's a surprisingly bulky electric type, most known for running AV or Coil. It gets a wide array of moves, including knockoff, U-turn, Volt Switch, Flamethrower. I think it gets Giga Drain, Close Combat. It gets a lot of fun moves that you wouldn't expect it, and that kind of versatility is what you need in drafts. Then, for my 1-point pick in place of Crocodile, I have Arbok. Arbok offers Intimidate and a Poison type. It's probably not going to come to many games, but it's a 1-pointer, so I looked for as much utility as I could. But the main thing that I want to draw attention to is the new Delta Pokemon. We've doubled our Delta Pokemon count, so that's fun. So Delta Willigan is a Water Fire type. It gets 3 really good abilities with Flash Fire, Storm Drain, and Regenerator. Flash Fire being able to help out Ferrothorn with its fire weakness. It gets access to Tail Glow, boosting its special attack by 3 stages, Fiery Dance, Scald, Energy Ball, moves like that. It also, I think, is Heal Bell too. This thing is, it's pretty good for a Willigant. It has the same base stats as Willigant, offering a base 90 speed tier and 110 special attack, and I think it gets Recover, so this is going to be an interesting Pokemon to use, so yeah, but you'll get to see the new trades in action next week whenever we take on Blue of the Houston Huge Power. So, with that being said, I've been here for 30 minutes, and I will see you all in the next game. Peace.